And it is on to our match of the week right here as we come to you from the historic Rizal Memorial Stadium. It is two top teams here who are out to compete. Top teams because they have been touted to be massive cogs in our race to the much coveted title. It is Davao Aguilas UMak FC and one Taguig FC. And you are catching this on our Facebook and YouTube pages, also on Premier Football. Claro Manzano here alongside Jed Jamante. We're going to bring in pitchside reporter Sydney Crespo in a bit. Massive game here, Jed. And just to get things going also, dikit yung laban nila when they figured last season.
Yeah, last season the score was 1-1. So this game we'll see who will get one up against the other. So it was a very interesting matchup now for tonight.
Let's do note also that one Taguig lost a number of players also, particularly Stefan Tra, Kevin Ingreso. As we take a look at the table, do note also Davao lost some players. They lost their Japanese influence. Daisuke Sato with Taguig and is playing against his former team. Same goes for a number of guys like Shoma Sato also. We'll get to that later on. But here's the standings, Jed, and we do see Stalin Laguna now dictating the pace.
Yeah, they won their game earlier today. That was a dominant display versus the Philippine Youth National Team, which brings them to the top. We see Davao and one Taguig somewhere in the middle of the table. They're trying to look to bump themselves up in the league standings after this game.
Do note that Davao did get a win because they did win over Loyola via forfeit also. That is why they have that on the board. This is really or officially the second game that they are really playing when you look at it actually. But at the end of the day, it is bounce back day as we will eventually zoom in on the two squads right here and we will dissect what's been going on and what can we expect in this one. We will eventually get on with Davao also. But you could say that they are still coming off that draw. And then for the perspective of Taguig, they lost 2-0 to Stallion. And they did have an advantage in terms of personnel kasi may red card sa Stallion, right? Let's recall.
Yeah, so even though they had the men advantage, unfortunately, one Taguig couldn't get their goals or the game to their favor. Props to the great defending of Stallion FC. But Davao Aguilas will also see a redemption match because in their last match they led against Kaya FC Iloilo, but unfortunately were quote-unquote as their coach said, they were robbed of the game because in the dying minutes of the match in the extra time, Martini Ray from Kaya scored to level the playing field, but we saw that from the new additions of Alessandro Rigi, he came as a sub, but he was an impact player, causing the assist for the goal for Gonsalves.
Tama yan, as we will head over to one Taguig FC. We did mention the players to look out for. There is Alessandro Rigi also. You cannot miss him because of his beard and also because of the way he plays. But let's head over. Nano Amita and Daisuke Sato. Nano Amita is their team captain. And a proud homegrown player, of course, who's been able to duke it out here on the big stage. And then also, as we said, Daisuke Sato, not just because he's playing against his former team, but because of his international experience, his international caliber. And Nano Amita versus Paulo Bugas, that sounds very familiar when we turn back the clock to when they were playing against each other in the university level at the UAAP. So it's all to play for right here again in your 2024-2025 Philippines Football League action as we come to you from the Rizal Memorial Stadium. It's your Davao Aguilas UMak FC versus your one Taguig FC. this is it, folks, as we do have our match officials and our captains just sharing a light moment before we kick this one off. And we do see that it is Dini Watara for Davao Aguilas UMak FC and Coach Aber John Rusgal, Nano Amita for Taguig FC, and Coach Giovanni Villagracia. At kita nga natin si Mick John Pineda ay ang referee. Ang assistants niya ay sila Paul Galicia and Ismael Pasion. Si Segundo Saluria III ay ang ating fourth official. Si Ray Ritaga ay ang referee assessor. Si Mr. Richard Ganaban ay ang ating match commissioner. Claro Manzano here alongside Jed Jamante, your commentators for this one. You could see and feel the tension here. Or do you call it tension or intensity? Coach Edsa locked in already here. Regardless, of course, goalkeepers love their clean sheets. So we do have a look at our bench of Taguig. Let's see if we could take a closer look at that bench of Davao and of Coach Aber. Teams getting locked in as we will eventually run through our starting lineups. Interesting formations that we have. Both teams, both squads, new look. They did get to beef up their respective rosters. As teams are in the center now as we are closing in on kickoff. Let's see how it will develop, of course, as we will eventually have our starting lineups, or we will run through them. And for Davao, they do or are playing their usual 4-3-3. And that's something that they've been carrying on since the return of this club. Taguig in a 4-4-2. That's what they've established over time with Coach Giovanni. Taguig, they are in their red and blue uniforms. Davao, you could say, are in their blue and white. And you could hear the drums, of course, of Ultras Davao. Junior Sam was trying to get involved. Sam did jump ship from Stallion.
One thing that's interesting, Claro, is based on their past games, Davao is, let's say, a defensive team. They really hold back, they wait for their chances, and they're very dangerous sa kanilang mga transition plays. And that's actually how they scored in their last game, courtesy of the assist of Alessandro Rigi, who's finding himself in the first 11 at this game. Last game, he was a substitute. And scoring the goal for them was Costa Gonçalves, who is not on the team sheet today because of an apparent injury right after his goal last game.
A little unfortunate, of course, as we know. As it's now here on the right. Talarok gets it. Sapal. So it's blue and white again for Davao. They're playing from left to right. Taguig FC are in their red with dark blue. Both teams will try to get a feel for one another. Bounce back or bouncing back is the theme or name of the game. Well, you said it, Jed, because Davao, right, did get held to a draw. Held because they were leading in that game.
Yeah, throughout the game, actually, it was an interesting game for Kaya because they were coming from a lot of defeats in the international scene, and they were looking at that match against Davao to, kumbaga, kunin balik yung kumpiyansa nila, yung confidence nila. Unfortunately, they were scored against by Davao, who lost the lead in the final minutes of extra time. So, kumbaga, that was a heartbreaking draw for them. And they're trying to look to win this game. And let's pass it on to Sydney Crespo on pitch side to hear a report on the teams.
Hello, Clara and Jed. For our final match today, both teams are eager for a bounce-back victory. Taguig is determined to recover from their tough loss against Stallion Laguna, viewing tonight's game as a must-win. Coach JV acknowledges that they failed to capitalize on their opportunities in the last match, despite having a man advantage. Now, for tonight, he believes Davao is an organized team that defends well, so he needs his experienced players to step up and put in the work. On a positive note, Lingbo has fully recovered from his head injury, which required stitches, and is fit to play again. For Davao Aguilas, Coach Aber is confident after their recent performance against Kaya, and even though it was their first official game in 2 months. And in tonight's game, he is expecting the same execution and confidence from his players. Meanwhile, Costa Gonsalves has been cleared by the doctor, but Coach Aber has opted to rest him and give other players an opportunity to step up. Back to you guys.
But it's good to hear, of course, that players from both sides are on demand in Costa Gonsalves, and then there's Simon Lingbo, who is getting a start when we refer to the latter.
If we can refresh, no, in the last game he had a cut which actually bled during the game, and it's a good sight to see him starting this game. And also from the report of Sydney a while ago, Costa Gonsalves is already cleared, which is again good news for these players. We'll see them play on the pitch again.
But this one is whipped in by Bias. Dangerous ball. And Watara manages to meet it. And it is over now here. But let's take another look.
Watara comfortably collecting that ball, continuing his dominant performance from the last game. If we can refresh your memory, he also played an incredible role, stopping those shots from Kaya FC. But we are seeing now Taguig looking at an attack which is unfortunately called an offside.
We did see Naoto Hiraishi hit the deck also while trying to get forward. But there is Junior Sam. That's where the foul or offside was eventually called.
Well, unfortunately, I think they're not seeing it on the screen, but Mick John Pineda actually canceled that offside call, and it's calling it a foul in favor of Taguig because there is contact right before. Oh, we can see that elbow just extend right before the offside, which is let's say a good call from Mick John Pineda. He's been controlling these intense and physical games, and we'll be seeing a lot more of that in this match. Hopefully, trying to limit those unnecessary collisions, so to speak.
And you do have an obvious candidate to be in the wall of Davao in Salifu Jata. But here is the likes of Soomei and Oli Bias. Bias, new to the squad, but not new to the scene as it was picked up by Dini Watara. Dini Watara, over time, has moved up and become that senior player. He has that armband now. Bugas to OJ Clarino. Jata got this one to Talarok. That's Cart again, to be precise. There's the Talaroks in this squad. Well, here's a call. Traffic will continue the way of Taguig.
Taguig in their last game, they played somewhat more of an attacking team, and that's why it's an interesting matchup between these two teams. Defensive and an attacking team, clashing.
Oh, things got chippy quiet after now. Lucas Sergio is having quite a sequences, Dito.
I think that call was on a handball before that kick from Lucas Sergio.
As our colleagues also said, with this Davao squad, medyo nawala yung Japanese influence, right? But in came you could say a Brazilian, Latino influence of sorts with players that they've been able to get.
This was actually a big question mark in the last game, Claro, no? yun nga, nawala yung Japanese influence, but in came this new brand of football for them, and it was really a big question mark kung will they be able to, bring a different flavor to the teams, to the game. And based on the last match, they actually did. They held up their end. The new players that Davao used to retool their team were the key players who led to that unfortunate draw again against Kaya. And we'll see if in this game they will continue that intensity.
So with the players again, the Brazilians, there's Lucas Sergio. That's this one. Sent to the side by Camarade. Not his best hit. He sent his apologies. So there's Lucas Sergio, and then the likes of Bruno Krenkel, Alan Machado, and then there's Gabriel Costa, whom we are familiar with. Good to see, of course, people in attendance for this clash. But with this One Taguig squad, you could say that they do have a lot of players na Ascals. And the reason why we are saying Ascals is because most of these players, or a great number of them, played for the national team up until about early 2020 or late 2023. And they played in that era, or were capped under that era. Some, of course, still active for the Philippine men's national team. One player, of course, who came is Oli Bias, joining the squad, but no stranger to the PFL already, as he played with the likes of the ADT, the Ascals development team, back in the day. As this one was offside for Rigi.
Now, despite the depth of One Taguig team, they are being led by a Filipino homegrown player in Arnel Amita, and so that's very interesting to see here. That just goes to show that for the lack of better explanation, Arnel Amita is built differently.
And Coach Aber looks on. Also, we got to see Daisuke Sato again playing against his former team. Early on in the season, these two squads will get to face off. So last season, they were saying that Davao lacked firepower when it came to offense. But this team has retooled. But perhaps we can answer that question. Did they get enough firepower? It can be answered at the end of the season if they achieve their goal. They're one of the squads, of course, who want to compete for the title.
They think they have the tools and they have the quality to finish at the top of the table this season. It's just a matter of will they really double down on that. But here's an attack from One Taguig, which was brilliantly stopped.
As the shot was eventually denied here, and Naoto got it on target. Not enough power to really trouble Dini Watara.
The defense of Davao Aguilas, they're like twin towers in the middle, just making their presence felt, just telling One Taguig na hindi kayo pwede dumaan, amin tong depensang to.
That is correct, because you have the towering Lucas Sergio. As there was a look again, there was the fall from Sam. Naoto Hirahishi got it on target, but not enough to trouble the keeper. We're just going back, right, with our back line for Davao in this game.
So it's going to be a busy day for Junior Sam, who has been a key player for One Taguig. Siya yung kumbaga nanggugulo ng depensa ng kabilang team, and let's see if the twin towers of Davao and Lopez Rice and Priego, how they will keep Mong Sam at bay.
When Salvador Pliego found out that Salifu Jata was called Big Boy last season, Salvador did say he wants to be the El Jefe, which is the boss, right, in his language. But first, let's cut that conversation as here's this ball whipped inside. Jata takes it and makes it. Salifu Big Boy Jata. That is the definition of why he has that name. Not just because of his height, but because of how he comes up big.
He was given, yeah, and we were just saying the El Jefe and Big Boy celebrating there. That Big Boy, you could also say that when he's given that responsibility, when he's given that opportunity from this cross, he delivers. And what a goal that was, burying it on the bottom left corner off the cross. What a delivery from Cart Alarok, who just finds that curl back towards big boy Jata, who makes his mark in this match at 13 minutes.
And Chata is no stranger, as there is a dangerous chance. It had to be sent to safety by Lucas Sergio. And there's confirmation once more on the goal. And Jata, of course, rising up to the occasion. Just to wrap that up, of course, with El Jefe, because Salvador Pliego, being Mexican, speaks Spanish. So, in his language, of course, he's the boss, as he said. But they could justify that with a W here, and especially a clean sheet. But it is early in the game now.
Dami pang pwede mangyari, klaro. And, we're restarting this game from a corner.
Nakagol na nga sila. Galit pa si Coach Aber.
It's too early in the game to, celebrate because the match is not over. Taguig tries to look for an attack from the right side from Omeso, but that was defended well by Davao Aguilas. The game is just starting to take shape, and again, as in football, the first 10-15 minutes are the most crucial because dyan mo pinapakiramdaman yung positioning, yung tactics ng kabilang team. Trying to look for those spots, those opportunities, but Clarino.
OJ Clarino.
Saying that this is his turf, you're not going to get past me.
Walking over Gallantes. Gallantes also took a hit. And this game early on is starting already in a heated manner. Nano. Naoto. So we were dissecting this Davao squad, right? But let's go to your Taguig FC crew. And plenty of international experience when we break it down, because there's Simon Lingbo, there's Eric Gallantes, and company. Oli Bias, people who have been capped.
Don't forget Daisuke Sato, who's
obviously, yes,
has a lot of international experience, and I think that's one thing he brings to this team. Yung experience niya sa labas ay ibinabahagi niya rin sa ibang mga kasama nila dito who are not able to play in the national team, but again, playing with these high caliber players, you will learn one thing or another.
And there you go. As this one was controlled by Quincy Camarad. You gotta love that footwork and ball control.
Kalmadong-kalmado. No, he was not rushed. He was not pressured.
And Quincy, as we know, of course, has that great kick. And kick, of course, in distributing and finding teammates, as it was sent long by OJ. Up for grabs now, the likes of Rigi. Rigi did take quite a hit versus Kaya FC, and he said he was A-OK. Junior Sam over to Oli. Expectations high also with Oli Bias, despite of him entering or joining the national team scene at a very young age. He brought in plenty of experience. As Gallantes wants to get through. Gallantes whipped in the cross. But the flag was up here from the linesman. I believe it went outside already. But it is a corner kick from what we are seeing. And there's Rigi, of course. Let's add him to the list of best beards. He might be the only one on the list, actually, come to think of it. No one can match that. Well, here's Troy Limbo and company having to defend. And this crew of Taguig have some catching up to do.
Even though Taguig is tracking, they have been passing the ball around pretty well, moving it from left to right, looking for those spots, those gaps. They are not short of opportunities, just like this one.
But there is a whistle. Dini Watara just having a word with our referee, Mick John Pineda. Also-
Tried to do sort of a hand of God, I think. There you go. Daisuke Sato will not get away with that. Of course, it didn't go into goal, but Mick John Pineda caught that very quickly.
Daisuke Sato. Other than Daisuke, there is also Shoma Sato, who is Japanese and jumped ship to this One Taguig squad. And we'll just answer the question because we are early in the season, right? They are not related. Daisuke Sato is Filipino and Japanese, but is a Philippines international. Possession at 62-38.
One Taguig keeping the ball and trying to create their chances. They are not giving the ball up that easily. With Davao, the more defensive team, they are, although they are holding a low block, but once One Taguig comes in, they really bring the pressure. They're not, see here, they're not engaging when the ball's not in the middle of the pitch. They're inviting One Taguig to bring the ball in, and that's when they engage.
Daisuke Sato couldn't thread the needle. It's with Rigi now. We saw Jata take a fall versus another towering player in Nahuel Amarilla. And there's a foul called by referee Mick John Pineda. And Rigi, or as he is also called, is a marked man. The Canadian-Italian. Sabihin na natin, James Harden ng PFL.
Beautiful beard. But he was nicked here by the captain. Probably to stop the attack.
Play will resume. It's the Twin Towers. Well, we were talking about the backline of Dava, but if we go with One Taguig, so there is Shoma Sato, whom we just mentioned, and then alongside him is Nahuel Amarilla, who is a former Argentina U23 international. That is massive, of course, in terms of the resume. He's got plenty of experience playing back home. Just 28 years of age. But let's just wrap up that list of players who transferred over to One Taguig from Davao. Don't you forget there's also Soome. Soome also Japanese. But this one is secured. Rigi, it's on the left.
Davao not rushing the attack.
Well,
That
here
was
was his
nicked away by
chance now.
Omeso. Gives it to Junior Sam, who is dispossessed by Lucas Sergio, who is on the ground. Probably got caught on the leg by Junior Sam. He will need assistance here. Let's see that again. Not sure contact was seen during that replay, but we just hope that he's okay.
Let's see if Magic Spray will be the answer. So we are approaching the 22nd minute of this game already in your 2024-2025 Philippines Football League action between Davao Aguilas pictured and there's One Taguig FC.
Coach Aber giving instructions to his players, not satisfied with the lead. And on the other side, from One Taguig's side as well, they are getting instructions and needed adjustments to get back in this game.
We also saw Chung Soo Moon in that huddle. Now the question is, how will the squad of Coach Giovanni Villacrasha respond? Oh, and if we can also add to that list of players with national team experience with One Taguig, there is Quincy Camarad, don't you forget, who was also He's also gotten called up recently. But play will resume. The Aguilas are down to 10 players temporarily. But of course, or as expected, Lucas Sergio will re-enter the pitch in a bit. Let's recall that Taguig also announced the signing of Carly Demurga, a very tenured defender for the national team. But he is listed as not playing. We also haven't seen him actually as of late. Well, we can expect to possibly see Carly because he is in this roster. Interesting, Jed, that Tsukasa Shimomura is on the bench, right? He was their top scorer last season.
And he was an impact player also in the last game. He's probably, I think, if I remember correctly, he was subbed in early, but then he was taken out right away after, after the action. Maybe something that's happening probably within the squad, maybe a health or physical issue. We're not sure about that, but it's up to the coaching staff why this lineup is set up this way. But Taguig is looking to build their attack on the right side.
How all these combinations go. You did see that Salvador Pliego was at the same page as Dini.
Taguig is doing very well building the ball up from the middle third. Just couldn't connect in the final third where the attack matters most.
So in that game, looking at our records with Tsukasa Shimomura and Taguig FC, he only logged in 45 minutes of action. So if he is potentially injured or is nursing something, there's that chance to see him come in as an impact player for this squad in red and dark blue.
As he always has been.
And even as a starter, of course, with the way Shimomura got to impact or lead his team in the attack. Tsukasa Shimomura racked up 21 goals and was just behind the likes of Harvey Gayoso in the Golden Boot race. And the two former FEU Tamaraos showing some love here. Nag-sorry na kaagad.
Siguro kasi alam ni Paulo Bugas paano maglaro si Nano when he has the ball. He just had to stop that attack. And just before that fall, Nano was handling the ball pretty well in the middle, bringing the ball away from the defense of Davao Aguilas, leading to that attack. And now Taguig has a set piece.
You love that respect while playing hard, right? That is an example here from Paulo Bugas and Nano Amita. As this was whipped in, not a problem for Dini Watara.
All catches so far comfortably from him.
But this one was loose. Quincy Camrad got it well again. He loved the confidence again with his feet. I'm saying it once more.
He's not fazed by the pressure. He knows what he can do with that ball.
Quincy Camrad has gotten a hefty number of caps in the U23 level for the Philippines. And then he also has Champions League experience with Kaya's previous club. We do know, of course, AFC Champions League 2. That is the ambition here of this squad of Taguig. Same can also be said here for their counterparts in Davao this evening.
Nano dictating the pace of Taguig, and this attack is looking promising. They have been holding the ball quite in a high intensity. They're just not letting Davao hold the ball. They are looking for that space, moving the ball from left to right. Not rushing anything because, as you can see, Davao is a defensive team. They have been holding their fort pretty well. But Taguig is looking to break that with an attack.
You got this one back. Amarelia. Sato. You do see that Oli Bias is tucking in the middle hoping to help out, although he is listed as a winger here. But that's a little expected, no? Total football, players switching around.
It's not more of a position, it's more of a responsibility, as our coaches in college would say. You're not locked in one position. It's more of if a player leaves the space and you have to support each other. It's a responsibility of knowing where to be when your teammates are somewhere else. And Junior Sam has an opportunity on the left side with a cross.
Great control from Junior Sam. But will this fire stay alive?
It's out for a goal kick. Great defending there on the tail end by Clarino.
And Naoto Hiraishi wanted to keep that spell on, of course. And just before we could talk about this also, because Jata is figuring in a new PFL team, he said that he was feeling good because this Davao team is very similar to the Manila Digger squad that he was a part of last year. So it's a very smooth transition. Big boy Jata's got a goal to show for it. A big goal.
Impact player.
Off of Nano, one of the smallest players on the pitch. Talarok versus Gallantes. He's double teamed. Got to evade Bugas. Amita collision with Jata. And cleared out by Amarilla. Well, here they come now, storming through. Oli got it wide. Simon Lingbo. That is his game as that fullback who would charge forward. And it will stay with them. If we did talk about the adjustment of Salifu Jata, also before the game, or also the days before the game, I spoke with Nano Amita. He did say they have to bounce back. That is what is most essential. And of course, he's expecting a tough one. No surprise, right?
And they are playing well. And we will expect more attacks from this one Taguig side. They have been dictating the pace of the game.
So with one Taguig dictating the pace of the game, as they say, you could say that, is it pressure to score a goal, or there's a little more expectation with them scoring now?
Sa tingin ko na, it just gives them more opportunities kasi kumbaga you have the ball, then you get to play with it. Kumbaga you can create your chances. On the other hand, with this Davao side who we saw in their match against Kaya, they are more on having this defensive character. Pero sinasabi nga natin na delikado sila on the transition. So when they get the ball and catch one Taguig with space on the back, they will attack that space. But I don't think one Taguig is giving them enough space behind. They are trying to play it straight here, but that was easy defending for the one Taguig defenders.
A little over the half-hour mark already of this matchup. And also, there was Stallion Laguna FC earlier. They did defeat the youth national team 4-0 behind goals from Finn McDaniel, Kenshiro Daniels, Magson Dorado, and Fami Ibrahim. A clean sheet there for Roberto Llamas and his defense. Pero muntik na, tandaan nga natin. The youth national team almost came close. And tricky here from the likes of Bugas and Chun Soo Moon. And it's great to see, right, Jed, because you played in the UAAP ranks, and then we do see some players from that same system playing. The prime example, the likes of Paulo Bugas and then Nano Amita. Let's also add in OJ Clarino, who's also a coach with the University of the Philippines. As we see our fouls, 12 in the first 30 minutes. Is that quite a lot? What do you think?
It is expected, no, sa mga laban na both teams are trying to prove something. Alam natin na pareho sila gustong manalo. No? It's a redemption match for both of them. As one Taguig looks to attack in the middle, Omeso to the left, Sato
Daisuke. A little shake and bake. Clever ball in. Off of Pliego. And they'll play it here. Early cross. But it was met by the Aguilas. Talarok. Banggaan dun with Soome. Do you say love lost between the former teammates? You've been in situations like that, right? Perhaps in your time as a football player, playing against former teammates.
But, ang sinasabi niya, in any competitive sport, pag nasa laro kayo, kumbaga, kung laban-laban. Pero pag nasa labas na ng laro, kaibigan-kaibigan. So it's, you leave everything. When you play, you leave everything on the field. There's no love lost. Again, kumbaga, you are playing for a team. You are playing to win. You're not just playing against a friend. You're playing against another competitor. So, walang kaibigan pag sa laro.
Also, decent excuse mag-friendship over during the game against a former teammate or a close friend. As it's with Junior. And there was a push. And he was pushed by Pliego. Even though he committed the foul, he showed who's the boss in this defense of Davao. You have to get past me.
There are instances na Pliego has been, let's say, for lack of better term, bullying Junior Sam because the Davao side, alam nilang si Junior Sam talaga manggugulo na depensa but just the twin towers of Davao Aguilas telling them na nope, this is our box, you're not getting through. But that foul leads to an opportunity for Taguig on a free kick.
Well, he did foul Junior Sam, a top 10 goal scorer last time around. 10 goals from Junior Sam when he was with Stallion Laguna. Sam also terrorized opposing defenses in the ASEAN zone of the AFC Cup. But the AFC Cup now again, the AFC Champions League 2. But here is Oli Bia standing up to the plate. Bugas also there. Not essentially part of the wall, but moves back. And there you go, Jed. May nakahiga. We've seen this internationally.
Skilled players can nick the ball through the bottom, but go straight to the wall here.
Follow up, it's no good though, right here.
But they do win a corner. Taguig has another opportunity.
Oli Bias took that follow up. They're piling up the pressure here. Let's take another look.
Oli Villas just trying to get a shot in that follow-up but couldn't connect properly with the ball. Though they won this corner at may isang oportunidad pa silang makakuha ng goal dito. See what happens. Cross in. Goes out for another corner.
Bias' service was stopped. It will be another one. They are potentially changing it up because here's Soome now. Outswinger or in-swinger, we'll find out. And it's an outswinger. And Watarak collided with a number of people. And at the back is Caliantes.
Davao quick to react in that transition. You can see already 5 players on attack. They try to hit it to the left side where they find Rigi. Can he get to the ball? Yes, he can. Tries to shift his way through.
Let's see if something will brew here. Taken from distance. Off target though. But from where we were seated, he could see that something was brewing.
Davao really lethal sa transition. Right after that clearance from the corner, 3-4 agad ang nasa other half ng field. Ganun kabilis yung kanilang transition. And that paid off with an attempt, but Taguig now tries to build their attack on the left side. Caliantes versus Talarok. Great defending by Cart.
Now in this of Dava, with that system of theirs, they've always been emphasizing it. Even if they're not one of the most, even if they weren't the more talented teams on paper in the previous competitions, they say to trust the system, as Coach Aber says.
And I think, yan yung kailangang purihin at kumbaga bigyang importansya dito sa laro na to because no matter how strong your team is on paper, ang mas importante ay, if all the players are doing their doing their responsibilities, playing their role as a team. So it's really dependent on the system and how you guys or how the players try to stick to it, trust it, and I think that's paying off well for Davao.
Gallantes wanted to find Sam. And it's
Cleared out,
cleared by OJ. Big boy. But here was the slide from Gallantes to delay the attack. Hold on. Referee's heading over here now to Shoma. It is something with his gear, it seems. Referee John Pineda just orchestrating things, of course. He's the man with the whistle. Let's see first, of course, and we'll wait for an update. Now play will resume. So no word there. But the initial speculation was with gear because our referee again, John Pineda, was taking a look at, I presume, the socks or the boots of Shoma Sato. Pliego, back to Watara. Gallantes. The second ball in third was secured here. Taisuke. Soome. Simon Lingbo gave it back. Lingbo did play in Indonesia recently. Daisuke got to thread the needle. Gallantes. Now to Hirahishi. There was a fall. Referee took no interest. Triggered now by Bugas. It is a foot race. I did not know how to describe that, Jed. Hindi naman big boy versus big boy, di ba? Tower versus tower.
I think that's a better way of saying it. And I think sa mga ganyang sitwasyon, it's more of kaninong commitment ang mas matindi para kunin yung bola. And I think the defender was more committed to bringing that ball out.
Taken by OJ. What a foul versus the Aguilas. And because OJ Clarino would still be in the UAP level as a coach, I keep reminding myself, or there's that instinct, sabihin mo Coach OJ, or to call him by that.
A lot of our players actually sa PFL now, they're also coaching the next generation of Filipino footballers. And kung ikaw yung bata, it's inspiring to get instructions from the quality players themselves.
Sam versus OJ, 2-on-1 in this corner. There's Gallantes also. Talarok, but it was gifted. Gallantes, good presence of mind from Amita. But this one ends here. The towers colliding. Amarilla taking a fall. Salifu Jate, the goal scorer, with a yellow.
He was caught with an extra extension of the hands after that challenge for the ball. We'll get to see that in a replay, but the goal scorer now has a yellow card. After that was cleared out, Jata is seen there extending his arm, and John Pineda caught.
Nano Amita wants to play it quick, as you saw. That is what they do. Oh, looks like they will have to restart this. Could you possibly explain to the new fans bakit nagmamadali sila? Wala naman silang lakad mamaya di ba?
You know, it's pag may foul, pag may stoppage, it's malaking advantage yan pag nakapagsimula na kayo while the other team is still recovering. Kumbaga, hindi pa sila nasa position. Kaya kung may mga fouls, may tinatawag silang quick play. Kumbaga, habang hindi pa nakatingin yung kalaban, wala pa sila sa position nila, you capitalize on that and try to start your attack as soon as possible. Diba? Mas madaling umatake na wala pang depensa.
Hiraishi, the cross. Junior Sam couldn't get to it though. And Nano colliding with Bugas. Similar body build actually. Come to look at it. Nano, of course, when they are not playing, he's either at the live stream or at the Rizal Memorial Stadium catching the action. Join us again. It's 150 pesos per ticket here at the grandstand. Libre po sa bleachers as it's taken by Jata. Collected easily by Quincy Camarad. Less than 2 minutes before additional time. The goal of Salifu Jata again, the difference maker. And with the last PFL season again, the top 10 teams were retained here in top flight. And we have seen, of course, this high quality of play. Shoma Sato to Daisuke. Playing it over the top now. Flag is up though. Was it the timing that was off?
I think it's the timing, but the intention was great. And that actually, if we see the replay, probably the defenders were caught off guard. Or no, it was really the intention of defense to hold the line, which saw Junior Sam running early behind the defenders. Great defending by the Twin Towers.
Lingbo. So there you go, 3 minutes as confirmed by Segundo Saluria, our fourth official. They've been playing through Sato as expected. Hiraishi, but here is Lucas Sergio.
Great play initiated by Hiraishi. You could see him asking for the ball where he wanted it. Just a little too deep for him.
It's up for mix now, up in the mix now. Talarok wanting to split the defense, dispossessed by Nano. Daisuke had to clear it. OJ Clarino. It's loose now. Junior Sam gets it. 3 players trying to lock him down. Referee says it's a throw in. A little unusual. Number 3, yung number ng striker.
Baka may ano to, may ibig sabihin or may meaning, and I think a lot of competitive players are very kumbaga, ano ba, sentimental, emotional about these things. It's usually yung mga choice nila of numbers are personal.
When we refer to number choices, of course, because there was that old school practice, right? With certain players getting numbers, like number 2, 3, 4, and 5 would be with the back line or the back 4. How will Amarilla create a play for them? Shoma Sato to Nano. Rigi got the tackle. Well, you do see now Taguig facilitating, getting their numbers around. They'll try to get their engines going in this 4-4-2. Daisuke Sato to Junior Sam. Junior Sam getting clipped. And our referee points to the spot. No doubt from you there, Jed, when you saw it with your own eyes, you were telling me it's a penalty. That's the infraction against Chomaray Sapal, unfortunately.
That's the disadvantage of the Davao Aguilas defenders, because they have been very physical with Junior Sam. Unfortunately, this time, Sam got to push the ball away from play, leading to Sapal just clipping the defenders, Junior Sam's legs. And Junior Sam has been very busy trying to create the chances on top, and it has been awarded by this penalty.
And when you say very busy, not he's been very influential, right? You said nanggugulo sa backline, and it paves way to a penalty. That counts as a scoring chance, right?
Exactly, he still created this opportunity. Penalty will be taken by the captain, Nano Amida.
Nano Amita, will he equalize here for them? Both teams again need the result. Nano, it's good!
Captain calmly takes that responsibility. Nano puts it 1-1. Both teams are equal as we move to the second half. Just at the 48th minute mark,
Nano Amita bagging one. He racked up 4 last season. He gets one on the board early in this edition of the tournament. What a delivery here. Or such execution.
we will start the second half later with both teams equal. And so it will be back to the drawing board how both of the teams will adjust, to get the advantage over the other one in the second half.
No better way to frame it. Gusto ko second half na kaagad with the way you're hyping up this game, and it has been a treat. It's one apiece. Salifu Chata scored early on, but Captain Nano Amita came to the rescue right here to send it. And credit because Junior Sam won the penalty earlier. It's one apiece. Taguig level things at the last minute. And we'll see you, of course, later on for your statistics.
The Philippines Football League is under the supervision and regulation of the Games and Amusement Board. We thank you all for coming today and encourage you to visit the Philippines Football League Facebook page and the official PFL website, pfl.org.ph, for more details on the Philippines Football League 2024-2025. The passion, the power, the Philippines Football League on the rise. Use the hashtag PFL 2024-2025, hashtag PFL on the rise, hashtag support local football.
Back at the Rizal Memorial Stadium, it is halftime between Davao Aguilas UMak FC and Taguig FC. 1 goal apiece. Quality football here between the two squads. What a half. That's just all I gotta say right here, Jed.
Both teams are going at it. Again, like we mentioned kanina pa at the beginning of this coverage, is both teams, kumbaga, redemption game to para sa kanilang dalawa. And this is where Big Boy Jata gets his goal early on in the first 15 minutes of the match, coming from across from Cartalarok. And from here on out, Taguig were trying to adjust their game and try to get more chances in attack. They've had a lot of set pieces, but like this one, which is comfortably collected by Dino Atara.
Well, we recall, right? Nano Amita did emphasize it's a must-win game because they need to bounce back. Well, Jata did say, he did say days before this game that he was able to, or no problem with integrating with the squad. He has the goal to show. But speaking of Nano Amita, whom we mentioned, level terms, veteran here converting the penalty.
Very calmly, and that brings the goal to 1 goal each for both teams. Looking at the possession, Taguig has been holding much of the ball. They've been trying to build those attacks. Unfortunately, on the attacking third, hindi lang sila nakaka-convert. They have more shots, and both shots and on target versus Davao Aguilas UMak, who have Taguig with 4 shots, 2 on target versus 3 shots and 1 on target for Davao Aguilas. 4 corners for Taguig, which they are looking to capitalize 4 goals. 2 offsides for Taguig, 1 for Davao Aguilas. 19 fouls in this game. There's no
Combined.
shortage of kumbaga, intense collisions between the two teams, Claro.
Heavy action in this game, and we're only 45 minutes in. Yung corner kicks nga. 4, though, as you mentioned, 4 going for Taguig. None here for Davao. When we look at it, actually, like, does that show maybe they're lacking a bit in aggression? What's your take right here kung walang corner kick pa sila?
Yung laro kasi ni Davao, mas nasa defensive side sila. They are inviting Taguig to enter, kumbaga, their area of responsibility, at saka doon lang sila nagpa-pound. So they're doing more of transition plays. Kaya pag nasa kanila na yung bola, it's more towards scoring the goal than trying to bring the ball forward and creating those crosses. So no corners for them, but no shortage of chances in front of goal.
And we are expecting a change. We do see that Coach Aber has Richard Talarok Jr. over at the half line, as you see. And the man stepping off, from what I saw on the board, is player number 6 and OJ Clarino, who'll call it a day already. So the Talarok brothers are in for this one.
Another brotherly connection earlier in the game, earlier in today's match. We also saw
This is the Saud brothers, right?
the South Brass, yes, from the youth national team, and this time around we have the Talarok brothers seeing action for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Well, there was also the Moon brothers last season, but it is only Chunsu now who is with this squad. We see Junsu Moon actually did head over to Maharlika FC. Babalik ba yung Diamante brothers? That's the important question.
Well,
Either
probably on the different field, not on
Either
the football
pair.
field.
And it is 1 apiece again as we are going to start this second half. Clara Manzano here alongside Jed Diamante. Thank you very much for joining us on the Facebook and YouTube pages of the Philippines Football League. Also on Premier Football, don't you forget. And we do start this second half. Davao Aguilas are in their blue and white. On the other end, it is Taguig FC in red and blue. Sato got it to Quincy. We'll bring it to the left now. Galiantes appear to get beaten. Rigi getting through. Paolo Bugas. Got it to Moon. Diagonal ball, looking to split the defense. And sent to the side by Daisuke. When
Parang taas agad ng intensity, no? First minute pa lang sa second half. Kumbaga parang nakapag-recharge yung mga players during the halftime while they were getting instructions from their coaches. Tingnan natin paano nila lalaruin yung adjustments, no, in this second 45 minutes for this game.
One thing I'd like to think, though, is everyone can recharge at halftime, but no one goes back to 100%, right? Fully charged. So let's see in the dying stages of the match, perhaps, how this one will go. And it was stopped once more by that center back pairing with the likes with Amarilia and Shomasato. And there's a foul. And it was Rigi once more who was decked. Well, as expected, tuloy-tuloy mga fouls natin dito, no?
It is a tough competition for both teams. This time we're seeing Davao attack. But Marilia got that tackle in to stop it.
How do you see the set piece going, Jed? Very interesting.
Davao will use their height advantage. Unfortunately, kumbaga walang sumabay papasok sa bola.
Dava or Taguig, they try to trigger behind Camerad's distribution. Junior. And Junior Sam. What strength, though, not to take a fall. A collision once more between Amarilia and Chata. But it's a foot race over at the other end. Oli Bias. He was switched over to the other side. But this spell will end.
Great defending from the substitute. Richard Talarok stopping the transition of Oliver Bias on the left side.
And that will end for them. It will go back Davao's way. And we see, of course, the way that this game's pace has changed because of that equalizer earlier from Taguig.
May bumalik na momentum kay Davao after that goal. And kumbaga it's a level playing field kasi nakikita natin it's now Davao trying to get their chances to attack early on the second half. Sila na naman yung nagbe-build up, but
it was looking promising when Lingbo wanted to connect with Naoto Hiraishi, but it did not go their way. There was a look at Soome, and it's Jata to chase right now versus Shomasato. Salifu, what will he do? Played it back. And we did see the boss, of course, El Jefe, keep it for them. That's why they got this foray forward. You see, not just because he is tall, but Salvador Pliego sure has some great ball sense.
kita mo when he's approaching the ball, yung handa na siyang mag-commit, and that gives the one Taguig side second look at wanting to challenge him, because aside from the height advantage, kumbaga kita nila na wala pa yung bola, committed na agad siya to get to it.
And that's why it is brought up right now here. Chun Soo-moon assessing middle or left. Over to Alessandro Rigi, the Canadian-Italian. This one is deflected. Lingbo got his boot to it. I believe he wanted to delay the throw-in. Simon Lingbo has played in the Philippines, of course, under the likes of the ADT, also with UCFC. As Rigi gets inside, he couldn't break free though. That was 1-on-4.
It looked promising except for that last touch.
Everything but the last touch. Let's see, of course, as we are only 5 minutes into the second half. Let's give it 10 more minutes to see which team will be able to get one over the other. There's Pliego again with the stop.
He's proving to be the man in the middle na kumbaga kailangan lampasan ng Taguig kung gusto nilang mag-score. Kaya madalas dito sila sa gilid dumadaan. They're trying to look for the sides and whipping across.
And when you say that, as here they come once more! Rolling in front, but not on target.
Junior Sam couldn't get his foot on that cross. Nasa kanya na sana in front of the goal. Just couldn't get the touch.
And it's a throw-in deep in the defending end. But it is gifted back right here. So it will be Lingbo. It's great to see, of course, that you have foreign-born Filipino players such as Simon Lingbo who are playing here, because they do raise the level of play. But he got shaken up in this instance. A number of players actually right here, Filipinos from overseas. Don't you forget, yung mga homegrown players such as Paulo Bugas. Would you believe he almost retired in late 2019? And it was his wife whom he said who convinced him to carry on that pursuit of a professional football career.
You know, minsan sinasabi nila sa atin na minsan lang maging bata, minsan lang natin it's not always we have this ability or this drive and this youthfulness to play the game. Kaya habang nandyan ka sa spotlight, you know, take advantage of it because your time will pass.
And Nano got to whip it in, but it was cleared by Chata, I believe. But Galliantes puts this one in. And Watara did secure. It's a yellow against Bugas for that infraction earlier versus Lingbo. Shun Sumon got it over Lucas Sergio.
Davao holding much of the possession in the second half compared to the first.
A draw will not essentially help here, but hey, you'll add the point to your tally. But we're seeing that as it's in the middle, ball not secure. And now it is here. I was in awe there because he did see Limbo. He almost rounded Simon Lingbo.
That was a Lingbo versus Limbo matchup.
Oh, that was a Limbo versus Lingbo connection also back in the pandemic of the PFL. Good to see this one back, but they're playing against each other.
Different colors this time, and you know, sometimes it can play to your advantage or disadvantage kung kumbaga kilala mo yung kalaro mo kasi yes, minsan sobrang kilala mo na siya, alam mo na kung yung you know the quirks of how he plays, alam mo na paano siya gumalaw, paano siya mag-isip, and that can play to your advantage. Unfortunately, kung kilala ka ng kasama mo, it can play to your disadvantage if you don't try to mix up your game.
And we will turn it over to Sidney Crespo pitch side to give us an update.
After an intense first half, Taguig's mission now is to maintain the shade lift in momentum and not allow Davao Aguilas to regain control. Coach JV mentioned earlier that Davao defends well and that's the style of football their opponents are known for tonight. However, thanks to patience, combination play, and creativity of his players, they were able to equalize the game. On the other side, Coach Aber remains confident in their style of play, emphasizing that they only need to be cautious during key moments. His reminder to the team, focus is even more crucial now, given the momentum shift and the physicality of the match. Back to you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Sydney. So essentially, coaches giving similar instructions to the respective players.
It's more of stick to the plan.
As this one was taken and skied by Ome.
Parang nakita na ni Taguig kung saan sila pwede umatake. They have been attacking that left side with low or high crosses, cutbacks, and it seems that they see this as the opportunity to break the defense of this strong and solid Davao side.
They managed to keep it in though.
Taguig is putting the pressure on Davao. They are playing a high line here, as we notice. Junior Sam is in the defensive line of Davao.
But it will be a throw-in for one Taguig. This game just slowing down a bit. They are really trying to stretch this defense of Davao. And also, both teams have deep benches. Richard Talarok Jr. did enter again, as we've said. We can't wait. Who's going to be next to enter for Davao? Who's going to be next for one Taguig? That could just change the game here.
And the bench players are known to be impact subs. So we'll see if ever na may papasok kung paano nila babaguhin yung momentum ng laro.
As Hiraishi, his ball came off of Troy Limbo. And Troy Limbo, just like Paulo Bugas, did compete for United City FC in the last or previous season. But before heading over to UCFC, they were already teammates in Davao in that magical Copa run of theirs that saw them go all the way to the final and lose to Kaya FC Iloilo in penalties. So sabay sila bumalik dito. Lingbo. They were asking for a call. Naoto got past them. Whipped in. You see there that their defender and Lucas Sergio was on the same wavelength as Dini Watara. They have to escape that press. With Junior. But it's inside now. But this one was no good. It only hit the side of the net. Unfortunate close, but not quite for Oli Bias.
They are changing up their tactics a bit. Kumbaga, they are pressing high. They're forcing the Davao defense to create those mistakes, and it went unpunished for this one. Unfortunately, Taguig didn't find the back of the net, just the side of it. But we'll see more chances if they keep this press and keep on pouncing on the mistakes of Davao.
Chata. Simon Lingbo. Back to Quincy. So we would talk about it, right? Backlines and goalkeepers need to have a good understanding for one another. As there's someone down for Taguig in Hiraishi. His teammates up to play on.
Just to add to what you're saying, the defenders, the backline, and the keeper, sila na kumbaga yung last people before the goal. So if there's a miscommunication, ang lapit na ng kalaban sa goal, or the worst case scenario is when a ball goes towards the keeper or defender and no one gets it, you can just roll towards the goal. So that's the worst case scenario, and communication really is key. And kung nasa depensa ka kasi, and at the very back you see the whole pitch, so kita mo yung shape ng kalaban, and sila yung inaasahan na talaga nagko-communicate where they will push the press, where they will hold the line. That's one of the responsibilities of the defenders and the goalkeeper.
Yes, possession just favors one Taguig by a bit. And with what you were saying, that would be a disaster goal, or disgracia, as we would say. It's Alifu Chata getting fouled. Naging hip-hop din yung shorts niya. But when we were talking about this chemistry between the back line and the goalkeepers, how do they build that, Jed? Do they just say, oh, let's go and play together? Or are there certain drills that involve the back four and the goalkeeper training together?
It's kumbaga yung chemistry na yan, it's intentional. You build it intentionally. Kailangan na you when you're training, you really demand that you talk to each other. You you really call the shots, and it doesn't just come naturally. And there's some players who are kumbaga leadership type sila. They are used to giving not just commands but instructions. They're also great in following instructions, and those are some great qualities from some players.
Kaya minsan we do see that goalkeepers become captains, right? One example is Dini Watara.
They have that responsibility of captaining the ship, really dictating their play.
Nano, in this instance, at central midfielder. An influential position also.
Kita
Linggo.
natin throughout the game, Nano has been dictating the pace. Halos lahat ng build-up ng Taguig dumadaan sa kanya. And that's what you would expect from a great midfielder and a great leader.
There was plenty of competition in the midfield spot as Sam, a little fake, but a shot taken! 2-1 right here for Taguig. And they are loving it. A crucial goal. And they did trail 1-0. They come from behind, but it's not complete, of course, because we're still far from the 90 minutes or 90th mark. But massive. Talk about character.
Sabi na klaro, they have been, really pounding on the defense of Davao, and at this time, they punished Davao with a goal. The defensive mistake by mishitting that ball, Taguig was able to collect it and eventually bury it behind the back of the net.
It's Oli Bias who just got subbed actually. But let's take a look.
Substitution for Taguig FC.
What a shot.
Player number
First time.
Oliver Diaz replaced by
Missed by the defender.
Andres Aldeguer.
Good block, unfortunately.
Well, Oli Bias there to clean up the garbage. Pliego did get the stop. But there was Oli Bias. Left alone.
Garbage of Davao, ginto para sa Taguig. And now they lead 2-1 in this exciting matchup. Redemption match again nitong dalawang teams who are coming from a draw and loss from the last game.
And of course, both teams did not get to win the title. That is what they were targeting. Yes, both teams were targeting the title. They fell short. Both squads are retooled rather. But Davao did have this underdog tag last season. We actually raised some questions over that tag. Ang lakas ng team nila and they were doing so well. And they said underdog because of the limited resources that they work with. Andres Aldeguer gets this. Junior Sam. Just a tank. Oh, lost it though, Sapal. Bugas. Hitting this one long. No one there to go for it or receive it. But Ultras Davao present, cheering them on. There's chance of Sukol Aguilas. Let's also try to take an updated look at our standings with the way this one is going. And as it stands, actually, a win for Taguig will get them to 4th spot. They'll actually be 3rd with 6 points, but they will lose out on goal difference. with Manila Digger. Who's going to get the win here again because of bounce back day? Not to take anything away from Dava or Kaya. Yes, they figured in their last game. Kaya, as we know, undefeated in the local scene for quite some time. They are regular representatives of the Philippines. Davao just drew them.
Pero klaro, mahaba pa yung oras. We're still on the 67th minute of the game. A lot of time for Davao to recover, but also a lot of time for Taguig to extend their lead.
But there was Soome and is given a yellow. Alessandro Rigi is built tough and got back on his feet quickly. Nano there, of course, to deny any quick place of the ball. And you gotta, of course, fear Rigi when he's with the ball because he can create dangerous opportunities.
He is quick, he's shifty, and he's good with handling the ball. Kaya yung mga tight spaces kaya niyang pasukin. And that has been what he has been displaying in the last few games. Kaya siguro talagang siya yung sinasaktan ng kabilang kampo.
Rigi whips this one in, punched out by Quincy. Moon will try to send it back. Troy Limbo. Paulo Bogas' attempt to get the ball was sent here. So Chunso Moon will collect. He'll try to bring it up together with Dini Watara.
Davao has left a lot of men on top.
And when you see, of course, Dini Watara would bring out his trademark celebration when they would score. Very passionate. Jata. Did he get clipped? And there was a late whistle by Mick John Pineda. He's been livid as of late when we refer to Salifu Chata.
He's been a victim of those fouls the past couple of minutes.
Taguig throwing what they could because they are looking to at least hold on to this lead. But here comes Rigi orchestrating, sending it long. Quincy. Quincy will get it back going for them. This is not Coach Giovanni, but it was Coach Arvin Soleman. We are expecting a triple substitution, though, for the crew of Coach Schaber. What else do they have up their sleeve? We'll find out. Taguig have not fully utilized their subs too, when we recall. It was interesting. They subbed off their goalkeeper and their goal scorer in Olibias. As here comes Jata now. Salifu. Sky though, but got hit, I think.
Passionate celebration from Daisuke Sato, who denied that shot from Salifu Jata.
I thought
that was some commitment.
I initially thought there was a collision for a moment. But Daisuke Sato was feeling it there. Because that chance was almost a golden opportunity. So players now stepping off. The players stepping off are Chomaray Sapal, Troy Limbo, and Kart Talarok. So we've got John Dale Do entering. Another one is Dodong Villarreal, who is an enforcer. Last but not the least, you've got Uriel Dalapo.
In the last game, Uriel Dalapo was a key player on the wing Kaya siguro siya pinasok dito para ma-atake ng Davao yung gilid kasi he was really well.
As this one appeared to be headed. Lucas Sergio was not happy with that effort. That looks like he was the one who got his head to that. And with Oriel Dalapo coming in, he's been able to make his magic work for them, scoring the winning goal for Davao in a massive win over eventual third placer Stallion Laguna. Dalapo also made his senior international debut in the recent Merdeka Cup. That was the tournament in Malaysia, not the recent one in Thailand. The tournament in Thailand was the King's Cup.
Let's see how these fresh legs will change the flow of the game for Davao. They are expected to kumaga pinalitan lang yung nasa attacking line. More of the attacking line, so Davao is looking to look at the attack offensive end, trying to make changes and looking for that extra firepower.
Amita will try to drive the offense with Saw Ome. It was collected. Dodong. Paulo Bugas. Villarreal. Saw Ome running into him. Lucas Sergio. It ends up with Oriel Dalapo trying to unleash himself now. 2-1-1. Headed to the middle. A third player in Nano Amita. Took a hard fall. Players falling left and right. One player down from each team as this one is out. As they'll be taking a look at our down players. There's Oriel Dalapo from the first collision when he was trying to bring the ball up because they're desperate to equalize with less than 20 minutes remaining in this game.
He collided with the captain here. But that was a strong challenge by the captain, Amita. It was just unfortunate for Dalapo, who caught the painful end.
That was a hard fall in the turf. You see, of course, he's checking on his shoulder. And play resumes.
26 fouls in this game, 13 apiece for both teams. No shortage of challenges. Kitang-kita na both teams really want to win. And they're not both letting up.
All equal. But of course, it's Taguig in the driver's seat as they will play Jata once more. Salifu Jata in the box. He has Rigi. Still taking it. Lays it off. Ran out of space because Daisuke Sato was there. Timely tackle though from Jata. Paulo Bugas will he collect, but here's Junior Sam. Possession with them. Pliego to Dodong. Lucas Sergio. Villarreal in a slightly more advanced role. He appears to be in that 6 role. Chance of Suko Lagilas from the Ultras Davao. But it was intercepted though by Andres Aldeguer. Andres Aldeguer, someone again who opted to return, but he did pick up some experience in the Division 1 level in the USA. But here's a double change. It is Tsukasa Shimomura. Then you've also got Gavin Wentz. Gavin Wentz is on loan from Kaya FC Iloilo. He is a promising young midfielder. He did get to play in the youth academy of the likes of Schalke. So this is big. Tsukasa Shimomura will come in and possibly seek, or he'll try to come up with a consolation, not a consolation goal, but a cushion to seal the win, hopefully. This is a deep squad, Jed. You're up 2-1, and it's only now that Taguig put in Tsukasa Shimomura.
They have big guns everywhere. So tingnan natin paano ang impact ni Shimomura as he has been doing the last games for this side.
Shimomura again, the number 2 top scorer in the previous edition of the Philippines Football League. Shimomura is from Japan. Gavin Wentz, first touches. And there was Uriel Delapo on him. Shoma, well, here comes Jata with that press, but Quincy Camarad covering great distance right here. Can he connect with Simon Lingbo? But it eventually went out. Veteran moves. Outside na yung bola. What did he do?
Nilabas pa.
Lalo pa. Nilabas pa lalo.
Para napansin ko, klaro, mas bumilis yung laro ngayon with both subs coming in from both teams. May impact yung mga substitutes nila ngayon. Fresh legs on both sides. Mas bumibilis yung mga atake.
Uriel Dalapo overhit this one though. Quincy is holding on here. I'm speculating it's the leg here. So both teams will use this opportunity also to rehydrate. It's that de facto timeout that you were mentioning, right? Well, this one more of a stoppage for injury, not a cooling break like what we saw in the game that was played earlier between Stallion Laguna FC and the PFF Youth National Team.
Yes, Clara, but regardless, no, any stoppage longer than a few seconds can be an opportunity to regroup, for the coaches to talk to the teams, or for the players to talk among each other to reorganize. Take a breather as well.
Quincy will resume this soon. We also see some members of Stallion doing their scouting. They played earlier and defeated the PFF Youth National Team 4-0. Members of Cebu FC, the Gentle Giants in JB Borlongan, Daniel Gadia, and Chima Ozoka are also in attendance. As this one came close, Watara appeared to get a piece of it though. He wants better from his back line. Too close for comfort.
Quick reflexes from the captain. That was really close, but great attack from Taguig.
You see, of course, with this lead, Taguig taking their sweet time. Do we call it game management? Gamesmanship? What's the word that you're familiar with? Many ways, right? There's many ways to describe it.
I'd say game management is a better term for it, because it's not always that you keep the tempo high. Usually sinasabi na ba you're wasting time, but again, it's all part of the game, how you paano mo timplahin yung laro, especially when you're in the lead.
As it's with Andres Aldeguer. Rigi.
Dropping all the way back in defense. Being involved everywhere.
And they could pull off a result with all those two-way efforts. This would be massive. And Talapo got clipped by Sato. And Sato tumatakas dito sa referee natin, si Mick John Pineda. Yellow card confirmed. I think he knew, Jed. Tumatakas na nga sa referee natin.
But you can see Sato is locked in. Does not let that yellow card bother him. But Delapo really is an impact, dangerous player also on the ball. So that duty foul from Daisuke Sato really stopped the momentum of Davao's attack.
That was quite an intense duty foul. Pang final series na yung foul na yun, no? Playoff foul.
For especially in the league, every game counts. So sa tingin ko, they're really playing every game as a championship game. As you should.
Of course, knowing that you could give your best. If not, there'll be regrets. Some timely slides here. It seemed a little desperate though after a while, Rigi. But Delapo's down. Bugas. Aldeguer. Shimomura over to the other side. Gallantes to Muens. So it is game management, right? Slowing down momentum. It's not essentially just time wasting, right?
Minsan kasi pag ganun, kumbaga ginugulo mo yung momentum din ng kalaban mo. Also on your end, since it's already on the tail end of the match, you wanna, give them a little breather, especially when you have full possession of the ball. You gotta take that opportunity to your advantage.
So we do have this change. So Alessandro Rigi will step off. And then it is Alan Machado, a Brazilian, who will enter. Rigi, the Italian-Canadian. Not his day. The man, Machado, the man from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And center forward. Oh, he's actually had stints here in Southeast Asia. So he has some familiarity with that style of play. And he was last with Laos, the Young Elephants. He's also played in the Thai League.
Claro, Davao has less than 8 minutes in regulation time to catch up. And they are taking much of possession in attack this time around. Yung combinations nila, kumbaga, pumapasok. Kaso, just on the attacking third, they couldn't connect.
So dun sila kulang from what you're seeing.
Ganda na nahawak nila ng bola from the defense to the mid. But Amita masterfully holding the ball in the middle, drops a defender in the process.
Yan yung mga highlight, di ba? Yung mga nilalagay nila. There was definitely some pulling there. Moon versus Lingbo. I think Moon wanted a card also. But don't you forget, Simon Lingbo did not or barely featured in that game versus Stallion because of that injury to his head. Well, it was a wound from a collision actually with his teammate, when I recall correctly.
It was a nasty injury on his end, unfortunately. But parang walang nangyari.
Exactly.
Playing all out now.
Because we heard my stitches daw, di ba?
These guys are gladiators on the field.
Oh, there you go. Gavin Wentz, Eric Gallantes, Quincy Camarad. This one is out. Understandably, they put it out to burn time off. We've really been having a number of collisions left and right here. There's a look also there at Richard Talarok, who came off the bench. It was Cart who got the start, his brother. So it appears we do have, or I am seeing that there's a correction with the name of our twins, the Moon brothers. But this one is whipped in. It was dangerous. It came off of Machado though. So a clarification. It is actually Junsu Moon who is on the pitch and not Chunsu. So we do have the Moon brothers again. They both played together for Davao last season. But it is Junsu who is with Davao. There was that last play that was no good. So our apologies for any confusions. It's Junsu Moon and not Chunsu, as our team sheet says. Aldeguer.
That was there to connect.
Machado. Time continuing to tick. If you're Davao, the team catching up, you gotta be frustrated first because of that unforced error. They were not on the same page with the likes of Do. And then they did lead 1-0. But that takes a lot from a team if you're down 1-0 and having to catch up.
Shows the quality, just what Sydney was telling us in her pitch side report a while ago. Taguig is just sticking to their guns. They're sticking to their play, their system, and it proved successful as they got that goal advantage against Davao. But Davao, again, a victim of a foul here. Reishi giving it up on their left side, on Davao's right side with Bugas. Hopefully serving this on a silver platter for their strikers or for his teammates. You can see the height advantage, claro, on Davao versus Taguig on the box.
Bugas, they want it in a dangerous area so they could capitalize. Moon wanted to put it back in. I think they are asking for a penalty from a potential handball. No signal from the referee.
They are looking to serve it early.
His looping ball in. Quincy Camarad taking a hard fall. Open goal though, but it misses. Frustration there. But you gotta ask, of course, because the goalkeeper of Taguig and Quincy Camarad was down from a collision. Same goes here for Shoma Sato. We saw Quincy take a hard fall on the turf. Daisuke Sato doing the how do we say this?
Was pleading their case.
There you go.
That their keeper was down, but Machado still took the chance. Probably asking for fair play, but I don't think Machado saw that the keeper was down because his eyes were on his teammate from collecting the ball after the clearance. So he just took the shot, but the ball was on play.
Oh, so earlier I was gonna say, I was gonna let Daisuke Sato do the talking for us there. But let's take another look. This was the collision, and Quincy Camarad took a hard fall.
From his teammate.
Friendly fire. And then play continued on. Machado, as we saw, took that shot with the open goal, but it was off target.
Taguig taking their time here with less than a minute.
And Daisuke Sato has not stopped. Let's remember, he's also in the yellow.
He has to be careful here. If Mick John Pineda finds fault with his explanations, and I think he's doing respectfully well, the best that he can, so that he will not be booked again. But if Mick John sees this as disrespectful, it might lead to another yellow card. But I think Daisuke Sato did a good chance of trying to plead their case. But with this stoppage, for sure, there will be a lot of added time after the regulation. It will be confirmed in a few moments.
So this is some last-minute instructions possibly to Nano Amita. If you are Taguig and you want to see this one through. Well, for Davao, we went through it, right? With what's missing. You did say it's that final pass. It's in the attacking third, as we have 8 minutes of additional time. Well, we do have 2 subs lining up. One of them is Patrick Grog. He could really change the pace of the game with his dribbling. And then you got Omid Nazari, who can play in the midfield. He's a Filipino also who's got ASEAN experience in playing in different leagues. Aldeguer. Interesting, Jed, what they're doing. So Taguig bringing it to the attacking end. Para malayo syempre sa goal ng Davao, or where Davao is shooting.
Captain asking for a stretcher to bring him out. Not sure why, probably from injury or cramps, but this will give Taguig extra moments to bleed out from that 8 minutes of extra time. This will bring out frustration from the Davao side.
Coming out of halftime, let's recall that it was level 1-1, 1 apiece. But it was one Taguig who just managed to get one over the other.
Hopefully this will not be a pattern for Davao where they start strong, but towards the middle or the end, it's the other team who takes the momentum for their end.
And there you go, Omid Nazari enters along with Patrick Grog. Nano did call already for a stretch earlier, but so they sub him.
Gotta applaud his game because he was really dictating the game throughout for Taguig.
And Lingbo did win this for them. These guys are controlling the game, come to think of it. It's gotta be frustrating if you are Davao.
You're not giving Davao any glimpse of a chance to come back in this game. But again, this is football and anything can happen until the final whistle.
I think they were asking for a handball as here they come now. You can say it's desperation time already.
A lot of Davao players really pressing up.
Quincy. And there was Jata just doing everything that he could to come up with the interception. Fantastic control from Bogas. Well, here's Groggy. But here is a quick one. Oriel Dalapo, Quincy Camarado with that gutsy stop.
Out of nowhere, Dava just turned on his boosters. Well, I think the defenders of Taguig did not see him because they were all looking at Jata, who was already offside. But they didn't see from the back, Oriel Dalapo just turning on his boosters.
They were tentative, as we saw, as you've said. You don't see that very often, right?
Just a bad touch from Oriel Dalapo, who had that opportunity to level the score.
And also, props to the referee because they did not raise the offside flag because Jata was not getting involved with the play.
He was, yeah, exactly, he was not involved in the play.
As here comes Aldeguer, Watara, keeping them alive. But
Playing
they don't
it quick.
They don't want to be defending here. They need a goal desperately. But Taguig, you could call it executing their second half game plan to perfection.
And now Davao are changing their plans. They are not holding back, pushing their line higher this time because with the remaining minutes, they need more people on top for the attack. Let's look at this replay. Great save by Watara.
This one eventually goes the way of Camarad. Less than 4 minutes remaining in injury or stoppage time.
You can also see on your screen, Lucas Sergio's put on top. Davao's really trying to take advantage of the height advantage for those long balls.
So they move their center back forward. Well, here's Omid Nazari, and then there's Andres Aldeguer. Just to look at players here. This one whipped in. Taken, but off target for one Taguig. A goal from them will essentially seal this result.
That was too close. Probably got too excited to hit that towards the goal. He had all the time in the world, but did not know that there was no pressure.
Groggy managed to get his foot to it. They play it long now. Going for Lucas Sergio.
That is their game plan for the remaining minutes. Hitting the ball high and straight to the strikers to just lay it back. But Taguig finds themselves in a transition attack here.
And earlier you saw Groggy bring it up. That is the reason why they put him in this game. Gavin Wentz will stabilize it with them. And passing it back now. Sucking the momentum away.
Involving Quincy here. Less than 2 minutes left.
With what you've been seeing, what Davao's been doing, should they be doing things differently?
I think with the remaining time, the fastest way or the quickest way is to be direct. If they pass the ball around in possession on the ground, then that would take a few seconds away from them bringing the ball on top. So I think what they're doing is exactly this one. They're putting all men on top, hoping to bring the ball there, pray for a scramble, get the second ball, and just keep the ball in the box of Taguig.
So it's still alive. Shimomura. It was headed back by Junsu. Dong Villarreal will send it back. He's the man who triggered earlier with that service. The flag is up though from our linesman.
That's unfortunate for Davao.
I think it's gotta hurt too, to add to being unfortunate. But Taguig are holding on. As we said, this is an experienced crew. As the time ticks now, we are seconds away from the 8th minute. Are you expecting a little more at the discretion of the ref?
Well, during the extra time, there were a lot of stoppages. So usually the referee still, in the spirit of keeping the ball in play, they do add a few minutes. But Davao is seeing potentially their last attack.
Uriel Dalapo couldn't complete this one. It was a stop here by Omid Nazari, the veteran, the former Iranian international.
They will play it direct.
A desperate roll of the dice. Cleared out. Omid. Groggy will bring this forward for sure. He's taking off precious seconds away. Even if he gets dispossessed, which is not the case here, it goes or it favors them. They've even got the likes of Pliego forward. Sato.
It's bleeding out those seconds.
But Taguig on the verge of just completing this comeback. But as we say that, here comes Big Boy Jata. No support now. Desperately bringing it up. Salifu Jata. The shot taken off the woodwork.
Oh!
And it is skied. It is by Dalapo from what I saw. The body language here from them just says it all.
That was the clearest chance that they could have had to tie it. The desperation on this Davao side.
Paulo Bugas just letting out his frustration. What an effort. Unfortunate here, unfortunate there. Jata got it over here to Lucas Sergio. How unlucky could you get? And then the follow-up.
Just couldn't keep the ball down.
Just when we thought opportunities were running out, they came up with this. And I gotta ask, how unlucky can you get? You gotta feel for Davao, but you gotta credit Taguig because they've been playing all of their cards to their advantage.
The Davao players will have nightmares of that chance after this game.
And there you go, folks. It is the full-time whistle. You gotta feel for Davao with the way that match just ended. Quincy Camarade, what an evening. you still got to give credit to Salifu Jata, not just because of the goal, because he showed heart and determination, not just in that last spell. With Daisuke Sato feeling it. A win here against his former team. Stakes are high, of course, because these two teams, we saw them as contenders for the title. It's Taguig bouncing back from their heartbreaking, or not heartbreaking loss, but a deflating loss against Stallion Laguna. A 10-man Stallion Laguna. But with Davao, luck not on their side, but if they put up a performance like this on any other evening, Jed, I think they'll be able to come up with wins. Si Daisuke Sato still having a word with the ref.
You know, that's just passion, like oozing out of their players, and you gotta give it to Taguig. They do deserve this win. They were just going at it throughout the whole game. On the first half, they were controlling the game. They equalized the game, and they just controlled Davao. Even though Dava was trying to hold back, you know, known as a defensive team, some lapses just led to the fortunate goals of Taguig. And the passion, they are feeling it now. They are soaking in the emotions of the goal, of the win.
We could see some tension actually between teammates. And with Alan Machado and also with Junsu Moon. And they're having to pacify them, of course.
No,
These guys left it all.
They're all competitors. Everyone wants to win, and you know you really can't avoid those types of situations because everyone wants to win. And if it doesn't go your way, it's really painful and frustrating. So they are showing their frustration. But it's a good evening for Taguig coming out of this game from behind.
And confirmation with our goals. It was Salifu Jata who bagged his first goal playing for Davao Aguilas, but not his first PFL goal because he, again, did play for Manila Digger recently before making the switch. But for Taguig, they come from behind Amita and Bias, as we will take it to Sidney Crespo, who's with our man of the match.
Claro and Jed, our man of the match team captain Arnel Amita made sure he leads his team to a much needed bounce back victory with 1 goal and 98% pass completion. Arnel, congratulations sa iyo sa ganitong klase ng performance. Ano sa tingin mo ang magandang ginawa ng Taguig to keep up? Especially, sinabi ni Coach JV, must win ito para sa inyo.
So siguro frustrated lang kami sa last game namin against Stallion sa talo. So yung parang nagdala ng motivation sa amin throughout this game. So, kailangan talaga naming manalo para maging nandun pa rin kami sa liga. So, yun lang po.
Ngayon, Arnel, sa tingin mo, paano makakatulong yung experience nyo dito para sa mga susunod yung pang matches? Especially, sabi mo nga sa pinakita ninyong patience sa larong ito.
So, para sa amin, kasi 1 game at a time, this game, like, next game, we play against Cebu, sa Cebu Dynamic Curve. So, kailangan pa namin maging focus lagi.
All right, Arnel, congratulations and thank you so much for your time. Once again, that was our man of the match. Back to you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mita did say that they had to bounce back. It was a must win, and they just described it right there. Fantastic interview from Sydney, of course, but that does it for this one. It ends with Taguig with that come from behind Nano and Bias just racking up the goals. One at the death in the first half, another one in the second. But that was enough to overpower the goal of Salifu Jata. But that does it for this one. Clara Manzano, you're on call for this match alongside Jed Chamante. We'll sign off. It was truly your match of the week right here.